What's up, everybody? My name's Alckemy. Welcome to the channel. Today, you and I will be doing some sound design. I guess we'll start with some garage stuff, but before we get into that, we need to check out the everyday quick spells rather, from the Discord. If you want to submit your own everyday quick spells, you can do so somewhere here. And what I do is at the beginning of every stream, I just play everybody's stuff. And let me see, when did we get started? Yesterday. So trying to figure out where the last thing that I played was. But yeah, it's kind of cool because you can just submit like 15 seconds of a clip of something that you're working on or just an idea, and it will hold you accountable to make something. And then also it will, encourage you to maybe finish that idea. But if nothing else, at the end of the day, you at least did something, you at least submitted, did whatever. I think this one is the first one we want to take a look at. So from there, and if you miss it, you don't make it in time, whatever, it's totally okay. I'll catch it on the next stream. It would be super helpful if you all kept the chat to something in general or whatever, so that way I can actually see when this stuff was uploaded. Although I don't really fault you for, as you can see, there's a lot of community interaction with, all that stuff too. And I think that's a really awesome thing. So yeah, what can you say? I believe that we played Little Pink stuff for, maybe not. Actually, I think this is the place that we start, if I'm not mistaken. I'll listen to this and I'll be able to tell whether or not I listen to it. But let's just go ahead and get through these and then we'll get into the sound design. Nope, I hadn't heard this. Oh shit. That was cool. Yeah. Choose your fighter, motherfucker. He's cool. Wow, you guys are swinging. What's up, Greek? That was sick. We got Ross. Let's go. Techie, bro. Fuck yeah. Yo, Pete, what's up? Hey, Wayne. Yeah, it'll be up for a bit. I move everything to unlisted, but... Sorry, I can't talk over this. Yeah, you guys are dropping some heat. So if for whatever reason, because what I do is I try to keep my live streams to like interviews and products and all that. This is my job, so forgive me. But what I do is, if you go to my channel here and you go to playlists and you go to the live streams, this is where you can catch everything if I unlist stuff. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so I usually leave stuff live for like a week and then I put it in the past live streams. So if anybody's looking for it, then you can just find whatever we do here. But to try to keep the algorithm uncluttered, so that way like you all can see the latest videos that I'm uploading, that's where you can find all of that. Excuse me. All right, we got Michael. That's Hello Sonic the Hedgehog. I love it. I got Cora. Bruh, you just cannot fucking... 15. It's not that hard. Cora! 15 seconds. You're not special. This one's a bit more interesting. Yeah! Nice. This is sick, Philippe. I don't know what song that is. Yeah. Sick. Yo, let's go. Wow, nice. That's probably the coolest thing I think I've ever heard from you, Cora. Making my way through the hood, down the block. No, I'm just kidding. Michael is always flexing on us with his jazz. Yeah. Hell yeah. Nice. We just need a turkey on that. Just. Damn. Okay, guys. Shit. Trying to put me to shame, huh? Nice submissions, everybody. That was awesome. Let me type in the Discord quickly. Hey, Papa, what's up? If you all want to submit your everydays, you can do that here. Your everyday quick spells. Yeah, see, like, this is a great way for you all to discover people because there are just so many talented people in my Discord, or sometimes come and hang out. Everybody should know PopPot. Go subscribe to them. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, so this is a small way that I can just play stuff and be like, hey, here's some shit that you can get a demo from and hopefully check out everyone else's music if you're interested. So, nothing but good things. Okay, cool. So we're going to open up with, I guess, UKG sounds. I know Fred again, but I don't really know Skrillex. I don't know. UKG makes me think of something different than what it might be today because I'm a little bit behind, but we can start with Serum too. I am kind of just slowly building a bank of just random shit and then probably put it together at some point. I guess with this is just my default patch. You can just use this as a starter point for respaces and stuff. It's a bit loud. Yeah. Then we just need to be loud. That is so loud. We could do something like that. That's all, honestly pretty simple. It just needs to be a little bit more louder. Somebody was saying that the overdrive distortion is what the clip thing should be, but I still don't. Yeah, it still feels like it makes it more quiet to me. Actually, what I would probably do is push the volume like this. Yeah. That's pretty nice. We did it! We made a respace. An idea. Let's talk about stick hits. Because stick hits are the key to getting sticks to hit. So what I would do, personally, is take this and change this to a sample and be like, yeet. That wasn't very loud. Maybe it again. Let's do that again. And then we can do that again here. And this is nice because drum design and stuff for being able to do that is extremely helpful. Because now that we have something like that, we can leave this alone. And then we can just create some things here for us to play with. Kind of like so. Sup. Sup. So we can go like this. And we'll just start with that layer. And then maybe what we'll do is one more layer. So we'll use this one on LFO2. Have you guys seen the Gangster Party line? It's my favorite. Retrade. Hertz. Make this fast. And envelope. Turn that down. Turn this here. Envelope. And this is pretty much what we need to start with. So we'll make this tail a little bit longer. Maybe.
Recording to log.
And then we can use bandpass now to start to shape this. Wait, A and B. Yo, thanks for the follow, Percy Smith. Hey, relax. Listen, when you're in this chat, you need to... No, I'm just kidding. We need to, I guess, send this to where it needs to go. To filter. Filter 1. Okay. Filter 1. There we go. And so what we might actually want to do is only have A go through this. And then with the offset here, we can actually make this not as big. So that way it's kind of like an offset. So is this even doing anything? Kind of. Oops. Fuck. Sorry. There we go. So all we have to do is just make this really loud now. And we can grab some distortion. Go overdrive. Maybe we'll do another one. Just leave that at 0. Grab some compression. And I'm just going to go big ratio, long attack, long release, turn the threshold down. And then from here, it's just a matter of mixing this how we want this to go. So I've just started sound designing seriously lately. What's a way to get good at relatively quickly other than just doing it all the time? Learning the vocabulary. So familiarizing yourself with what all the effects do as much as possible. Pop quiz. What does a phaser do? You know, something like that. Getting familiar with all of the terms of what there is and what that has to offer is one of the most important things I could say, because once you do that, then to some extent it's just creating a formula of whatever it is that you want to create. You know, you need to be like a child and be like, hey, the cow goes moo, right? A sheep goes baa. But if you don't know just by looking at it what this is, what this is, what this is, what that is, that's where I would start. Because that's like fundamentals, right? If you're trying to learn basketball, you need to learn how to dribble, you need to learn how to shoot, all that other shit. Then you start getting into like the more advanced stuff. But systemize the terminology, and then applying the terminology will become much easier. Something that I might do is I might fuck with the resonance here. Thanks, man. Yeah, I haven't learned many terms. Guess like anything. Yeah. I'm trying to think about... I feel like my channel is... I do a lot of advanced shit. I do have some stuff for beginners. Maybe I should do some more stuff for beginners, but you can always ask questions here. For me, digging into the inner workings of stuff helped. Everything is low-key, just fancy delay. Yeah, that's if you get really granular with it, but like... Whoa. What are you doing there? So now what we can do is we can play with different convolution reverbs here and see if we can create some kind of rim or some stick. Yeah, let's try that. And let's see what that sounds like if we toss that in there. Hey, get in there. Small size. Shut up. Maybe what we can do is make this just a little bit faster. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Then maybe we can throw that into an OTT. You're going to compress it, then you're going to compress it again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And again. Does anybody know that? Cool. So now what we might be able to do, I don't even know if this is going to work or not, but we can try is we can go into the matrix here and grab maybe envelope 2. And we need to go to the global tuning here to where we might be able to create a pitch bend that's like extremely short, like this short. So like zoom in. Yeah, like that's what I need right there. Something like that. Yeah. Carl Young. Sample and hold. I tried Bloom. Any tips for not making the same type of shit over and over? Yeah, you need to ask yourself, what do you always do? What do you never do? And what's something that you completely have never thought of? That comes straight from Frequent. If y'all know him, Nolan. Shout out to Frequent. That was a really... Well, no, it's valid because you naturally have like a tendency to want to go places, but you need to like go into a complete opposite place and stop trying to form it into something that you know is going to sound good. I have this issue as well sometimes. But, you know, let's say you're really good at drum and bass shit. Start looking at sound design for rhythm. You know, start looking at sound design for something completely different than your genre. You know, color bass. I don't know, deep house, some shit. Like, yeah, eventually there's going to be some bleed over, but if you never go to the extremes, then you might only reach the middle without knowing the rest of the boundaries. You know, if you go in two completely opposite directions, you're going to see where everything kind of matches. But if you just go for the commonality of everything right off the bat, then you need to explore the innards of whatever depths your genre has to offer. Does that kind of make sense? Or does that just sound like typical jargon like I usually say on my channel? That sounds pretty rimshotty. It's just not loud. That's the thing with this synth, is I don't know how to get this shit to get loud. Unless if you turn this up, but... Question. I feel like I've gone through most of these. But is there anything on here that will actually let the signal clip up to 0? Or does it push, or does every single one of these distortions push it down to like -6? Because look at this. See that? It's not getting any louder, nor is it distorting, which in a lot of cases, that's not a bad thing, but I don't personally like it. I want this shit to be at the ceiling. What happens is brains love comfort zones every time you're faced with it. Yeah, it's like trauma, right? You keep going back to the same place. Try clipping, but it never does. Isn't there a utility effects? Yeah, but it doesn't adjust the output. And if you put a distortion after the output, it'll just turn it back down. I was trying to sound like synth hardcore, but ended up making it industrial. Well, that's kind of the thing too, is like, you're going to like, you have to realize that there are times that you're going to try to pull something off and it's not going to work, but like, appreciate what you make as well. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do that, then you'll use whatever you make regardless, and it will help you bridge into your sound design profile. But if you're only like, fuck, I gotta make this bass, it's gotta sound like Skrillex, that's not it, I put my thing at 12 o'clock, bro. Like, don't do that shit. From someone with over a decade of experience, don't do that shit. It's not worth it. Take what you can, like, you know, take inspiration, take what you can from whatever it is that you're studying, but like, don't fucking beat yourself up when your snare doesn't sound exactly the same, or your neuro bass is like, you know, whatever. And if you're that serious about it, which I just put up a video about this, but if you're that serious about it, figure out who your favorite artist is, fucking reach out to them on Discord and ask them for lessons. Sometimes I'll be thinking my music is like, is fire, and sometimes like ass listening to better music. Hi. Hold on. This is the artist police. We're here to kick you down to the curb and knock your ego down a couple of pegs. Because every single person I know goes through that shit. It's like you make something, you're like, oh, this is dope. And then you play your comparison, it's like, fuck. No. There has never been a single time that I've made something out of inspiration and compared it to the original and been like, that's better. Not once in my entire life. But you know what? There have been times that people have been like, I like this better than your inspiration. Because once you put it out, it's no longer up to you. I think that's something that I got from Chi. Once you put that shit out, it's like, yo, it's not up to you to decide if it's good or not anymore. You just have to let it go. So the more that you can like trust yourself and just make shit, it's hard. You know, again, I just put up a video about this, but talking about how to allow yourself to just make music versus trying to get to specific shit. I don't get that either. Yeah, same. Sometimes I'll play something and people be like, this is dope. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you? Damn, the bar must be really low, but some people generally like that stuff. You just never know. Right. But who knows? You can't really tell people what to like. You can analyze things from a technical perspective, but because you're making art, you don't have any control. Making it in unison might make it louder. No, it won't. Because this, like I said, this is going to clip this to -6. What will do this is if you don't have this in the first place, and then you just put a clipper on the outside like I do, and just turn this off, and then just push the ceiling up. See? Well, that's way too loud now, but yeah. That would be that's how I get over this. But in a means of keeping this contained within the synth itself, this is the only way that I know how to do that, and I guess I just have to get used to like this shit being quiet. Don't they call that imposter syndrome? Yeah, that's one facet of it. So that was pretty easy. Rim shot. I suppose if you want to make changes to it, you could do stuff like oh, you know what? Wait, does this turn into a bandpass? It does. Okay, there might be an even easier way to do this. So check this out. If we just send noise from here into this is probably going to be the easiest drum to make because if you do this and then you take a distortion like this, I'm giving you guys all my secrets. Let's do another one. We'll set this to overdrive. If you turn off pre and you filter this out like this, and then you move this like, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And so like you can totally design it this way as well if you just do some kind of like really short delay. Dun 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 dun. Then you can do something like an echo bode. Armageddon and echo bird. Y'all ever use an echo bird? You ever use an echo bird? Young Jamie Bird. What's up? Still enjoy my own stuff a lot, but sometimes I hear something better and want to get that good. Of course, like that's just part of it. We need to turn the width down to like not that much. See, that's the thing that's interesting about this is this frequency shifter, even at 100%, is still kind of acts like a ring mod. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the echo bode is the best the best tool to go for frequency shifting. Unless if maybe we go mono input. You know, do you hear how it's doing that? Maybe if it goes forward, that could be it. Because that sounds better. Okay, so yeah, you need to push this forward to get that to work the way that you want it to. Okay. Lesson learned. If you want the echo bow to not sound all fucked up, you need to push it in a forward direction. I love the bowed effect. I love the way that it gives me bowed. Oh shit, somebody left a hot taunt comment. You should just get face plant. There's nothing. Oh no, I agree. Yep, I agree. I love Serum too. Hell yeah. I used to listen to my stuff over and over right until I put it on YouTube, then I would never listen to it again. Was it because you were tired of it? Like, I resonate with that. Sometimes I'm so sick of shit that I am like, I need a break, and then I'll listen to it a few years later and be like, wow, that was kind of... Maybe the execution sucked, but the artistic idea behind it was cool. So yeah, this is another way that you can create a much more simplified version of just a rim shot. I mean, I learned this actually from a Bitwig trick, but as simple, you can make this as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. Something that you could even do is take a sample. Actually, we'll do a couple of things for funsies where I'd probably have to send this to a bus now that I think about it, but it's fine. Gotta go catch the metro. Okay, so we have something like this, and what we can do with this is offset this with something like here. It'd be really nice if there was a delay knob, so that way I don't have to do it like this, because this is pretty annoying. But whatever. Whatevs. And do this. Wait, what happened? What? Yep. So you hear now it's a little bit more like and then probably what I would do is like EQ it out and still do some processing on the outside. But the other thing that you can try as well to give it some characteristic is take the sample itself and toss it in here and then see what that sounds like. Maybe if we even turn this one off. Oh God. Yeet. And then maybe we can take out all the low energy of that. And then what would happen if we just send this out to bus 1 and turn this off? Because I want to hear what this is going to sound like. That's a bit loud. It's like kung fu fighting. Ugh. Ugh. Whip. Sorry. Trying to have more fun on stream. Sometimes I get so fucking burnt out that I don't want to do anything, but gotta enjoy your life, bro. I am eating pretzels and Chex Mix. Not gonna lie, even though I have a bunch of synth serum too as a tempting thing, if you already have a bunch of stuff, it's really difficult to recommend, but like I've had this synth for over a decade and the update was free, so it's like, how could you not? Yeah, I guess there's some stuff that you can do with that. Maybe we can FM this from the noise oscillator. Is there a way that we can, yeah. Just. Yeah, see, that gives it a little bit of like weight and a little bit of body. So if you're wanting to add texture to your rim shots and stuff, I think that this is a good tool for that. Call it textured rim. Sorry, I just wanted to open up with that. We can do something else now. Um, bit too pricey for me right now, anywho. Well, the other thing is like, whatever I do in serum, and this is pretty much across the board, right? Whatever I do in one synth, you can pretty much translate like 95% of it into something else. Like, for example, if you're like, oh, dude, the layering with the spectral, man, like just fucking do this. Wait, don't do that. Nah. All right, whatever. Just do this. Group it, and then use a second instance of serum. Sorry for the sibilants. Or whatever you have, and like use a sample, right? Or use a sampler. So you can resample your own shit. But you kind of have to think outside the box when it comes to this stuff. And unless if you're somebody that's been doing shit for a while, then I understand that a lot of times people are like, ah, it's got to be this. But there's always a workaround. It's more of just how convenient do you want this process to be? You know what I mean? I mean, hell, you could even do something like this, where you only have a single instance. Maybe you've got phase plant or something, and then you go into this and you go filter table. And you do something like this to where you've got a split chain. You see me do stuff like this all the time. And then you do some kind of spectral, weird looking thingamadoohickey here. I don't know why this looks like this. It's all pixelated and shit. It's not supposed to look like that. But, you know, you create some kind of... again, I'll say it for the people in the back. You do something like, yeah, you know. And then you turn it down, and you use this as a weird layer, so... Sorry. Rim shot. See that? That actually sounds cooler. So then you just turn that down, and then you've got texture again, you know? Yeah, I know, right? You gotta like, type of, I don't know, like a dying giraffe or something. Hey, Kane, what's up? Once you get past a certain point, you stop worrying about shit that you don't have, and then you're like, oh, I have this. I have to do like 2 or 3 more steps in order to do it, but you know what I'm saying? It's like not a big deal anymore. There are a couple of instances where stuff like that comes about, but it's very rare. I don't understand filter table. Take a wavetable, turn it into a filter. There you go. What's some other UKG stuff? Like, I can't really think of any sounds off the top of my head, because when I think about UK Garage, I think about, like, chord stabs and, you know, just very simple, like, womps. I think it's the layout that's appealing. Definitely thought about accessibility. I think the synth looks nice. I think that this is the most, like, not beginner-friendly synthesizer. One of the most non-friendly beginner synthesizers I've ever looked at. Let's play a game. Can you count the knobs? What does a UKG bass sound like? I only care about the oscillators, and splitting and processing can be done in DAW. Yeah. Hold on. Let me look up some UKG bass. UKG mix. I'm looking it up on my phone. Give me a second. UKG mix for driving. Donk Wop Hybrid. Organ bass thingy. Okay. Let's do a very basic one. We need a sine wave. We need a harmonic series. So something that would be like mode ratio. Let's do like 5. You know what I mean? Just something like that, probably pretty easy. If we do like a wub thing, make it kind of slow. Uh, Now let's make it lower. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm reading Popbot's description and I'm like very close, so. I mean, yeah, I mean something off of this, I suppose if you want to make it all, you know, fancy and stuff, then you can add some top in, you can add some detuning to this. And then when we send this through distortion, maybe adjust the width of this to like 50. But I mean, really, as far as I know, it's not really a whole lot of complicated shit. Pretty close already. I'm going to play with some of the distortion types on this because I want to find something that's a little bit more subtle. But as you can tell, the more drive that you give, the meaner it gets, so. And then maybe if we give it a little bit of resonance, that'll give it a little bit more. Yeah. And if we close it off. So once you have something kind of like this, it kind of just becomes a matter of characterizing it into like, oh, now it needs to have OTT and now it needs to have all that other shit. Yeah, and forgive me, I'm just going off of what I just heard, so. You could probably even go into a frequency split if you wanted to, like a low and high, maybe put some chorus on the mids, or sorry, on the highs. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Actually, let's go all the way and listen to this without it. That's kind of cool. That's almost like a weird-ass diffusion reverb. And then let's move the compressor to the bottom of this. God, the workflow of the effects is not my favorite. Can you check for some context? Am I not close? Is this not it? I would prefer not to. I'm trying not to remake your favorite sound because that's not what I do here. And the reason why is like I literally just spent 15 minutes talking about not remaking people's sounds. It'd be kind of hypocritical for me to be like, yeah, don't do that. Oh, I'm going to sit here and try to do this for 2 hours. But yeah, I think this would be pretty. Does this have... This has the harmonic series on it, right? Somewhere. Digital harmonic series. There we go. So this would probably be a better thing to use, to be honest, because that way you can actually automate the different stuff. Sort of is, but I thought it would be a good example. No, it's fine. I'm just trying to explain to you why, like, what I'm trying to not do. The other thing as well is if we take this off and we start getting into like really hard distortion, so maybe we'll do another one here and we'll find something that's a little bit more, yeah. I'm in the UK, but not an area where there's much of garage or bass scene. Feels weird, man. There we go. Yeah. Maybe on this we can also do like a small compressor or something like that. Kind of sounded like it was filtering up. Yeah, a bit, right? The convolve, we can pick like a really small thing. So one thing for you all to realize is that I'm not clipping the end. Sorry, I'm using an external thing to clip the output of this. So that's how I'm getting a louder sound, because I really dislike doing this. And if you do this, if you're just designing within Serum, if you have that distortion on the outside, no matter how much you push this, it's going to be relatively quiet in comparison to other things. So for example, if we leave this on overdrive without any drive here, look at this. That's -15. And this is being pushed up all the way. So even if I did another one, say here, that's 12 dB of gain, and it's doing almost nothing. So you kind of have to be mindful of that, and that's just like how this plugin behaves. And so what I would recommend is turn it up, but put a clipper, like put an external clipper on the outside. And that's why I wish that this had that, because even though it technically clips or whatever, it does it downwards, and that's kind of annoying because I'm not a gain stage type of person. Maybe Steve Duda's like, time to learn, but fuck that. Do what I want. Yeah, and I guess if you wanted to you'd probably want to make it a little bit smoother if you wanted it to like wob. But that's totally a way that you can do that. You can also make the noise come up if you want to. So if we go back into the oscillator, we can formulate this to go with this. Maybe not that loud. And then probably for me personally, what I would also do is I would throw this through another fuse compressor. And that's kind of the thing with Serum, and that's why like developing presets for this is a bit of a challenge for me personally, because I still feel like no matter what I do to this, I need to do more outside stuff. But if we go like this, you see how much bigger that is? And part of that is because of the reverb that this is pulling out. But the other part of that is that you're getting those really quiet sounds just pulled up. And then maybe what we could do as far as like a useful thing is we can kind of just push that back down a bit. So. But yeah, when you play those higher registers, man, that's powerful. So what does this sound like without this? Actually didn't sound terrible. But man, with this, the distortion is kind of necessary. What can you do? I don't really know. AC noise sucks. I think it sounds okay, to be honest. But you can change it. If you already know that you don't like that sound, then, I mean, if you do something like this, then you can make it your own. UKG garage. It's not garage, okay? It's garage. Fight me. No, I'm kidding. Did that kind of answer your question for bass? For, I guess, UK stuff? I don't know. For me personally, like, I still do a lot of my own bandpass things, but I tend to, like, neurofy it, so to speak. You know, if you take a square wave or something and then maybe like a... Yeah, for sure. Kind of like that foghorny thing is all about the harmonic series. And then, like, if you wanted to scream or whatever, then that's where you just get into different distortion combinations and, like, clever filtering. But a bandpass will do so much for you, as I'll show you here. If we turn this down a bit and go into this and go into ratio, let's go into, like, 7. I tend to favor 7 for this kind of bass design. Because this combination with distortion usually sounds really good. Unfortunately, I can't put a distortion right there. But I suppose I could, at the very least, just grab a bandpass. Let's go band 12. Okay, we do something kind of like that. Cool. All right, let's add some effects to this. The first thing is I'm going to try to find something that's going to create noise. So I'd probably reach for like the stomp box distortion or whatever. This is like probably the only thing that will act as actually, you know what? I changed my mind. What I could do is I could just introduce noise here and then have it not go through the filter. So I could just send it to, and then just make this quiet. Like very quiet. That would probably be the best way to do that. I say garage. I mean, but if you listen to this, like, it's already, like, just primed and ready to go. I actually like the way that sounds. And so if we start combining different shit here, like delays, convolution. Again, I usually try to stick with small stuff. Another distortion. Send that through maybe some soft saturation. And then we can get into some cool filtering and stuff. So maybe we can just start off with a notch. Little notchy. Notch. into a frequency split. Before I do that, I'll probably add another filter here. And then just see if I can get this up here. And we'll create some kind of complex thing. We could do this one, I guess. I don't know. This is always like a hit or miss for me because the way that this behaves, it's always kind of funky, but we can try. Wait. Okay. That seems to be more accurate. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's more appropriate. So we don't need it to be crazy. So we don't even need to morph it or whatever. We can just use the cutoff here to create the shapes. But what we could do is we can have this start upwards and move downward. So kind of like so. Oh God. Maybe not. Okay, what happens if I move this here instead? So that way this is adding a lot of coloration and then this will cut it. Petition to rename garage to car hole. Car cave, maybe? Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Convolver. What am I doing? Filter. Another filter. Yes. Okay, we need a comb. Probably a comb plus. The comb plus is what makes it sound like a flanger. So we need to add some resonance here and then just find the sweet spot of a different timing, a different tempo, something that's relatively slow, and just run that through the mill. What are you doing? Actually, I think what I'm going to do is just move that up. There we go. So something like that should be fine. I actually don't hear it, so maybe we'll try. Yeah, the flanger stuff on here is a little bit funky, so we might just hold back on that, and maybe let's just try a flanger instead. Getting the jet flange sound on here has been a bit of a challenge for me personally. It's like sometimes I do the same thing and it works really well, and then sometimes I do it and I'm like, that doesn't sound right at all. What the fuck? Maybe a rock plate? Rock, paper, scissors? But we're getting there. We are getting there. Is there a way to collapse this? Doesn't seem like it. Let's add some distortion. We'll put it on the high. Where are we at? Here we are. And then maybe just a little bit more of the fuzz here, but we don't want a lot, so just a tad bit on the top end. Your mom loves garage. So what I like to do after all of this is add another filter to the end. As you can see, like what makes this what it is filtering. Sorry, that's supposed to be here. And what did I just do? One more time. Put this here. We need to option click or option shift click. And now that we have that, we can add in our compression and stuff and just make this really fucking loud. So something that I think, if I recall correctly, worked before. Let's try this. Is I'm gonna grab overdrive and then I'm just gonna use the gain on this to be like to see if I can make this louder. Fast attack, slower release. Bob's your uncle. Making garage in your what? It's car plus strong synthesis, one of the best forms of physical modeling. You can use a comb filter or a noise and key track it. Yeah, we do lots of stuff here like that. And so now that we also have that, we can change this as well. So let me change this here. I don't like that I have to do that every time. That's really annoying. I also don't like that I have to do this every time. This is also really annoying. It also has negative width. Why would anybody want that? So for this, we probably want to diversify the top or the bottom filter. Because if we do that, or maybe if we cut this off a little bit more, then maybe do like a multi-band thing here. Multi-band. Don't forget to put the multi-band. Shit. I did the wrong one. Multi-band. There we go. Fast attack, high ratio. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That sounds awesome. Like, even though it's simple, Sir Kid Starver. I'm taking this all the way to Prime Minister. Prime Minister. Sir Kid Starver. Yeah, so this is a really kind of effective whomper that you can make. Really good for like neuro shit, really good for lots of stuff really, but and then if you add this to it. Oh shit. He said surprise, motherfucker. I still would like sorry for the chewing, guys. I still would like the mids of this to have a little bit more of the prominence for the flanging sounds. It's not terrible, but I really want the flanger to pop out more. You see, it's just kind of like, it just sounds like, wee, wee. And it looks like this is only a single direction, if I'm not mistaken, for how this goes. So I'll back off of this and then we'll experiment more with the comb filter to try to pull that out, because I really want this to sound like it's tearing. Also, I'm going to turn it down a little bit while I try to figure this out. Well, we have noise in it. It's right here. See, without it, it is making a big difference. So maybe what I can do is... Where are we at here? Let's just turn this off. Let's turn this off. Even though that's not what I'm looking for, that sounds really cool. You hear like the boing. That's pretty sick. Let's just keep that in there for funsies. It's got to be here somewhere. What's everyone's go-to noise type in Serum? I love the SID drone. I just use whatever the default one is, to be honest, unless if I need something more specific. Cute little suit dragon noise. Excuse me? Do what? Yeah, it does sound pretty cool. But not quite what I'm looking for. We'll call that rare. Let's go into a new one. Let's do some other bass design. Right? No? Maybe? It's like Benny Benassi all over again. I feel like the effects should be here as well. No? Like, what do you all think? Shouldn't the effects be this? Like, why is it an oscillator, mix, and then effects? It should just be effects. Kind of same deal here. So on this, we'll do a phaser. Is there a wideness control on this? Guess not. We'll use that stomp box to give us some noise. And then we'll get into some filtering here in just a second, but as of now, I'm just kind of doing my thing. No. Yes. Turn the resonance here. Also for this, like, they really should do this because this doesn't make sense. Like, unless if you have this at 50%, this is not going to represent the graph. And that's why that's so confusing. Because if you look at this, it also, like, the depth of this is extremely finicky. So, like, on some filters, I need to be like this. And then on this filter, you need to not do that. You need to be like here. But if you look at this now, this represents. But if the resonance is at 0, it looks like this. And it's like, why just keep this in the middle so that way I can actually see what the fuck I'm doing. Sorry, complaints, but wow, Alckemy, can't believe you're bitching about every little thing. Yeah, well, fuck, you sit down here and design a preset pack. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what I've been through. Alckemy shouting at the Duda clouds. I know, right? How dare you? This is a cardinal sin of EDM right here. I'm just kidding. Is there a way to make this collapse? No. What does 4 mean? How many effects this has in it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So this is a count of what's in here, apparently. Also, the frequency splitter on this is way off. Oh! That's why that wasn't doing that. Oh, shit. I forgot. Okay, yeah. So on that other patch that we were doing, the reason why it wasn't sounding like a comb filter was because we forgot to put this at the right crossover. Oops. My bad. Watch. I bet you $1. You can bet your bottom dollar. Alright, if we change this into a comb now. Come on, man. Sorry. That was bad. Hell yeah. Oh, we live? We always live. Yeah! That's what I wanted. What about Alckemy still loving Serum 2? I don't love Serum 2. I like it. Is the functionality with Bitwig and Ableton Suite the same? Like, does it have something similar to Operator and such? For the most part, yeah. There's a couple of unique things, but I'd say they're like 90% similar. I have a video coming out at some point of like the Ableton Survivor's Guide to switching to Bitwig because that's what I did. What, like 6 years ago now? I'm going to rely on the Discord to help me, like, whatever questions you have, maybe I'll make a temporary channel and be like, okay, everybody, give me all of your questions that you have about Bitwig coming from Ableton, so that way I can just address them one by one. Because I think that if somebody were to have shown me Like what I did was after I switched to Bitwig, I just read the manual and I was like, all right, how do I do this? And I swear for like 95% of what I was looking for, there was either a very similar way to do it or a better way to do it. There was only maybe like a handful of things that I was like, oh, I can absolutely not do this in Bitwig versus Ableton. I can tell this is going to sound good. We'll put this in the middle. Yeah, I also, I can't help but wish that uh, Serum 2 had an audio follower. It's not the end of the world, but that definitely would be helpful for stuff like this. Laptop room, laptop speaker, maybe a vocal plate. That would make the most sense to me. Turn the size up, tone up. One that pops in my head is certain effects, especially spectral time. I was collabing with a friend this weekend. He's on live. I use spectral time a lot with some synthesis. Spectral delay. I feel like you can get a very similar thing with frequency split. So it's not going to look the same, but if you look at freak split, this is a spectral effect based off of frequency, and so if you just put a delay in here, then you can get some pretty smeary stuff. And if you wanted to, you can set this to however many bands or whatever that you want it to. But if you're looking to freeze everything, then you just hit this button. So you can crossfeed into stereo on this. Spectrum display post. So yeah, and then like you can actually do crazier shit with this in theory, right? Because you can like put a bunch of these in here and then just like start going ham and tweaking knobs and shit. Or you can set a single macro. So this could be useful of, let's go macro. And with all of these, what the fuck? No, just one. Just one, please. You can go like this. And then actually what I would prefer to do is delete these. What just happened? Oh, okay. And then now you can take this and drop one inside of each one. So bloop. What? Okay, it's going to be weird, but all right. Just do it like that. So now whenever you move this, that did not map for some reason. What? Okay. Whatever. Whatevs. You can change the timing of all of these together. But you see, you can still get some pretty smeary shit in the same way. Yeah, makes sense. So this actually is, that actually does sound relatively similar to the spectral effect inside of Ableton. Minus some stuff, of course. It's not going to be perfect, but have I checked out the new stuff in Ableton yet? They're making an effort now. I think they fear Bitwig. I have seen it. I have not tested it out. I will at some point, but I don't feel like it. I'm sorry. I don't feel like it. Yeah, I've kept up to date about the bounce in place and stuff, and then also the sequencer, or whatever. The new filter, which still annoys me that they don't have a way to make your own filter, but whatever. They're trying. What can you say? From Bitwig just purely for comfort? I love Bitwig, but can't be asked to learn a whole ass dog game from the ground up. I'm really surprised to hear you say that because like my experience wasn't like that. It was, can I do this from Ableton? Oh, yes, I can. Okay, cool. Great. For the most part, anyway. So that's pulling that up a lot. And so now all we would need to do with this is just create some kind of interesting filter or whatever. Because that's kind of what this would come down to. So probably some kind of low pass or whatever would be fitting. But yeah, as you can tell, like you don't really need much in order to create cool sounds like this. I wish that I would have had this education years ago, but you know, what can you say? We could just do something like this to make this insane. Although I see, so it goes from smaller to bigger. Okay. I don't like this at all. Wow. I do not like the way that this behaves. The odd aspect for me was seamless too. What I spent most of my time with was learning the grid. Yeah. But I don't know. I ended up, I mean, that's fine, right? Like, if you don't vibe with it, then, like, hey, you know what I mean? At least you gave it a go and was like, you gave it a go. Because it's not for everybody. I totally understand that. I guess just from a experience perspective, that's why I'm like, yo, that's kind of surprising. Because for me personally, I was like, oh, okay, well, shit. Oh, I could do that. Oh, shit. Okay, I could do that. And it wasn't a big deal. I also don't like having to use workarounds to route MIDI channel. Yeah, that was... Wait, what? Oh yeah, Lee's favorite Ableton thing. Agreed. I will say, everyone, congrats to my viewers and congrats to my haters because we've gone this long, which is about 24 hours, without somebody calling me stupid off of how they feel about my opinions on synthesizers and DAWs. Hats off, guys. We created a safe space for about 12 hours. Holy shit. Being a content creator is so fun. It's so great. You're stupid for not thinking Serum 2 is going to revolutionize the whole scene? Yeah. Nice. Nice one. Nice one. Combo breaker. Man, I missed that game. I don't know. Maybe we can try the path on this. What the fuck? Oh. Somebody in the Discord made a, it was so cool. What did they do? They made a Among Us shape. I was like, that's so sick. I don't know if it was that actual person that did that or if they just found it on the internet, but yeah, somebody did something like that and it was really awesome. There we go. I don't know if you were in here when Alex Reed came in, but he was joking about that. They were like, Serum 2 is the new Serum killer. Yeah, I was like, that's genius. Yeah, so this is close. It's not quite where I want it to be. It doesn't quite have the top end off of that, but what happens if I do this? So maybe I can put... Did I already do that? Maybe a little bit more distortion in the top in here. We don't really need a lot of resonance. We just need this to be loud. Oh shit, autofilter is getting a comb informant filter type? Yeah. I think he made a video with that title. Someone did. Yeah, yeah. He was like, "Don't steal it," and I was like, it's fine, bro. You got it. It's fine. Okay, cool. So now we need to tame the mids. Maybe the lows as well. Auto filter changes because they kind of obscured a few of the analog modeled modes. Roar also got a disperser filter. Yeah, I'm sure that some people with certain genres are gonna love it, but for me, like my biggest qualm with the auto filters is that there's some kind of weird ass DSP in them that whenever you push, if you have too many cuts in those filters and you push it through an OTT, you get that really annoying ringing sound. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just annoying as fuck. I know some of you know what I'm talking about. It's so frustrating. Like, that was one of the #1 things that kept me out of wanting to use, like, Ableton devices and stuff, because whenever you pushed it through, it was just like, oh my god. I do think that it's nice, though, that they kind of catered towards actually how to shape the, like, the LFOs and the other stuff, because that was a big issue for me. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they also added a mix, right? Yeah, the beautiful aliasing, that is really fucking irritating. The that sound. God, that shit is so annoying. If you notice on a sound like this, we're not getting that. If you notice on Faceplant, we don't get that. Never use it on. I have so many filter VSGs. Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, dude, I've been making videos off of bases like this since 2018. And guess where I started? Serum and Ableton. You know? So. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could make this bigger. I suppose I can do another one. But maybe here. Is this not doing anything now? It didn't look like it. Wait, why are there 2 of these? Oh, because that was supposed to be another notch. I was like, what? Yo, what the fuck? Yeah, you can get some cool sounds out of this. I still want this to be more prominent, though. And then also, I guess there's some kind of resonance thing on this that's making the tail end of this kind of bleed out. I don't really know what that is, but whatever. Yeah, you hear that? So some kind of resonance probably on this filter is making that do that. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's a huge like difference in making the sound become a little bit more vocal. Roar is cool now. I never vibed with it personally on awareness and being able to play the effects. I mean, it makes sense. Look at the products that they're releasing, you know? Hey, Daniel. Or Danny, you and DOS? I think that, you know, with the Ableton Move and all that other shit, all that, whatever, it's kind of like one of those things, right? Holy shit. Wait, is this with every sale? Hey, do any of you sell stuff on Stripe or PayPal? Because I think that they just fucking increased the fee by like I sold something for $45 and I got $37.85. They took $7 out of my sale. What the actual fuck? I'm a South Korean. Wish Ableton group tabs didn't get bigger with more tracks in them. No other DAW has that. Yeah, that sounds annoying. Hey, Endos. Welcome. Holy shit. Dude, the American economy is so fucked. Um, they don't anymore, Spork. They just changed it. I think they fixed that in this beta. Also, for some reason, I see Samuel Norris in chat, but I don't see it in the live chat. Ah, that's why. There we go. Hi, Sam. I had it on top chat. I know exactly what you're talking about. I get a similar thing with Ableton's modal resonators. There's that annoying fucking low-level resonance. Yeah, that drives me crazy. I'm her. I'm so glad you're her. Hey, Michael, what's up? Did I say hi to everybody? We have Gloom. We have Lucas, ISO, Tendril, Kev, Double Asterisk. Anybody else at Prime? Rick, Young Jamie, Magnian. Hey, Alckemy, I've got a question for you. Why do I think that some people think Vital is better than Serum? Obviously before Serum 2 because it blows Vital out of the water 100%. Okay, so, well, Vital had some unique stuff. Cheers for the streams, can't sub. Oh, thank you so much for the coffee. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So Vital had a couple of features that Serum 1 did not have. I'm going to rely on chat a little bit to help me out here because I don't remember all of them, but I'm going to try to point out some of those. Like, you also have to remember that Vital is free, but it has 3 oscillators instead of 2. Well, actually, I guess technically Serum does, but one of those oscillators is only a sub-engine, where this actually has 3 wavetables. Yo, thank you so much. Next, wish you luck. Come back, and I'll help you out with whatever you want. Thank you so much. No, Serum also has text-to-wavetable. In the advanced section, there are these different unison spreads to where you can... wait, let me turn this on, and then you'll see what I'm saying. Unison. 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 So on this, with this unison blend, you can spread this out here, which I think was a big thing. Kind of like so. To where you can spread the voices out in between individual things, and I think that was a pretty big deal, if I'm not mistaken. There was also random modulators built in to where Serum had the chaos things or whatever, but nothing like this with the LFOs to be able to move this on random. Where do I find this? Triangle? Where's the thing here? Trigger. Loophole? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's right here. So yeah, it also had random mods built into it. Duh! I'm sorry. It also had mod remapping, if I'm not mistaken. So if you map something, macro 1 to whatever, you know, let's say velocity tracking, you can open this up and do the mod remapping. which didn't this have another thing? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So you can map it like this. And like these features alone, especially being built in and being free, granular. No, I don't think this has granular synthesis in it. I think it's just a sampler. Yeah, especially for being free. The nature of money is owing. The concept of money is perpetual debt, but don't worry, everyone. The economy will balance out. Eventually, the debt will go away if we just keep paying for things. Yeah, or I could just cry. I think one thing that I'm really reluctant to do is like adjust my prices to try to do that. What I might do is I might just start making smaller products and offer it for cheaper in order to try to make more sales. I don't know. Does that seem fair? I'm really not trying to get rich off of anybody. I'm trying to make products that people are like, yo, this is worth it, but do it in a way that everyone's happy. But I just, fuck, man, I hate being put in a position like that. Really hate being put in a position like that. But anyways, those were the big things with Vital. I think I had the Mandela effect for a moment. I thought Vital had granular. No, it doesn't have granular. I think Phase Plant was the major one. Actually, no. Before before Vital was even a thing, I think it was Pigments, right? Pigments 1 introduced granular synthesis. Hold on, don't fucking shoot me. I'm talking about in between the things that are like designed kind of like serum, not, oh, it was the first granular synth. I've had it since 3. But yeah, like in between the, like all of the other, I guess synths that kind of have the serum structure, I do think that Pigments was the first to introduce the granular synth. I mean, if you're really old school, there was Alchemy, but Alchemy wasn't really anything. I wouldn't say Alchemy was very much like serum at all. Like it was totally its own thing even before. If anything, it reminds me of like a pre-contact type deal with like the morphing in between presets and all that other shit. In the Berenstein Bears universe, it has granular. Was granular the first granulator synth? Oh, Rapid did it before Pigments? No, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's why I rely on chat because my history with this shit is not the best. That's a good question. Does Surge do granular? I'm just trying to get by. It's not your fault. Well, no, it's not that, but you know, it's also like I still need to try to make sales. So it's more about how do I do it in a way that is still sustainable for people because like life's expensive right now and I'm surprised that I even get any sales at all right now, to be honest. Like yeah, people are always going to need to buy shit for leisure, for hobbies or whatever, but you kind of have to make it accessible to people when shit's tough. I gotta tell you, I still don't get why people say Vital was better. Some of the features were cool, but I think the overall quality of the sound couldn't compare to Serum. I don't think it matters, right? Do I play many live shows? No, I think I've played maybe 3 in my entire life. But I'm formerly from Circus Soleil, so I used to be on stage every night, but not for DJing and shit. Yeah, if anybody didn't know, I still am. Uh, Still am an acrobat, but I used to teach martial arts. That's why I'm still in shape. But yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday, that's why I don't stream. Because I go to the gym and I go do flips. Otherwise, I would probably stream every day and be like fat and stuff, but no, I go to the gym and do backflips and shit. Well, Circus Soleil like travels everywhere. Am I into karate? No, karate's not my thing. I have training in tricking and combative arts. Jeet Kune Do, Gyoshin Jitsu is what I would call it these days, which is like your combative aspect of mixed martial arts. But it's less about like, oh, I do this and I do this, and it's more of like, here's a bunch of basic movements and here's how they all relate, and so it teaches you how to like punch to kick to throwing to, whatever. Yeah, I'm Irish. It comes here, but suddenly was my act martial arts base. It was tricking, but I did. Let's see, I was Iron Fist in Marvel Universe Live as an understudy. So yeah, it was more of like the flashy stuff, you know, of like really deep stances and the kung fu-y stuff. Hockey's dope. Um, Judo, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, and Aikido. Yeah, sounds like a mixed martial arts guy. Um, but I also did Chris Angel when he was still with Circus Soleil, and I helped with the magic and stuff. But my character was called a Dread, and I had a mask, kind of like a predator-looking character with this like glow-in-the-dark mask, and I just did flips and like had this like cool creature-esque like character to me. The first show that I did, I was a lumberjack, and I tumbled and like did flips and did things that were in the character of a lumberjack. I also played as a grandma who was like acrobatic and stuff, and then they were like, he's too manly and he's doing too many flips, so now we're just gonna make them not do it. And I was like, what? Okay. So then I just sat on a rocking chair my last few days and just, you know, I do have some pictures with me and lipstick and all that stuff. I'm a real lumberjack. My family owns a sawmill. That's hilarious. I should try musical theater. I mean, everything that I've done is somewhat musical theater, minus the singing. I bought Vital Pro on the rent to own thing just because I had the money at the time and wanted to support. It's not worth it for the extra wavetables and shit. Well, you got to realize that Matt put that out for free. So maybe not as like a paid product, but as supporting the guy for what he did. Like, I think it's worth it. Kev Human, can you do a backflip though? Do a kickflip? I don't think I've ever done a kickflip. Viral is seriously amazing for a free product. I agree. What are we doing next? We just did a stupid bass thing or whatever. That filter resonance is something else. This is like, I don't want to say it's unusable, but it's rough. Make some bro step. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Just adjust the low peak inside the filter. I can barely do a front flip. Well, it's this thing. This thing is attributing to what I would probably do is this. That would fix it, but whatever. We'll call that school welcher. Bro flip. That's what's pushing on that low frequency. Well, the thing is that this is in the mids, so it shouldn't even be doing that, but whatever. It's more than I can be bothered with sometimes. Make some bro DNB. Something like that. Okay, so what we can do is maybe create some kind of, sure, let's do some phase distortion, and then we can apply something interesting here where we can set this to a mode, to a ratio of something, I don't know, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then we can apply this to this and create some kind of bell. What are we doing, bro step? So hybrid DNB is DNB plus dubstep. We can send this to filter 2 and put a bandpass on this and go here, maybe a band 24. Just kind of make this go really slow. Here we go. And so now we can just create a long thing like this. And then we can get into doing some effect processing on this to make it interesting. Start off with a low split. I'll probably use an EQ on here to toss into the mids and figure out where those resonant points are. There we go. And then we can do maybe some kind of chorus. Some reverb, maybe a hall. So what we could also do is we can pull up another instance of serum. Save this as PUD. Go here, open this up. Change this into a sample. Toss that in there. Can I normalize this? Yeah, hey, that's so cool. Can I do a stream where I test the brown note? How about that one? Oh, it's already being sent through distortion. I was like, why does it sound like that? We can loop it. There we go. Send that through some more reverb. And then we need to pull the dynamics up because it's a little bit crazy. So if we go here and just kind of pull the gain up. Excuse me. Yeah, totally. I could just... So we could take this sound and toss that into here. And just create all kinds of cool pads and shit with this, you know? We can do like a small flanger. Although I would really want this to maybe push it through here. Oh no, I'm sorry. Push it through this so that everything kind of smears. Turn the dampening down. Yeah, a bit of a high cut. Can I just move this? No. No. I need to drop at least 2 octaves for the brown note. Yeah, let's give that some delay. It's 40 cents below an octave of a flat. Maybe just a little bit of noise would be nice on this. Like just a hair. That sounds great. What if I... Hey Marcelo, what's up? If you have to play it through a JCN 900 using a Variac to run it at 90 volt, what? Just turbo diarrhea. have you all seen Alex Jones? Oh my god. Just turbo dinosaur power. Do something like an arpeggiator. We can also do a sequence with this if we wanted to, so... This reminds me a lot of, what's it called? Of the Wind Waker. For me, your biggest fan. Please do a sine wave at 92 cents below the octave of E flat. No. No. Wait, I think... No. Fuck. 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 Yeah. Okay. That pad was cool. Maybe we can do something else here. There's lots of different ways that you could spin that too, you know. But fuck, not again. Not again. Okay, let's create a wavetable here. I've realized that if you turn the update FFT off, then this will actually operate as you want it to. Whereas if you turn this on and you adjust this, it'll do this. I cannot stand this. This annoys the fuck out of me. So turn this off and then you can edit this the way that you want it to. I'd also say zoom this in a bit. Is there a way that we can adjust this? Yeah, I'd prefer to be able to like make this, have this be distributed across a taller value, but whatever.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, thank you so much for the follow. Chris Harp. Really appreciate it. What the fuck? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is this phase? What is this face? This is something that Serum never taught me about, unfortunately. You see how weird this is? Like, it's a wavetable, sure, but like it looks all fucked up. Just as a quick comparison, I probably should have mentioned that in my comparison video, which I just put up today, if anybody's interested. But like, something that I kind of rely on, especially when it comes into making wavetables, is you see how predictable this is? Look, I can rotate the phase and be like, I want it to be here. But whenever I'm trying to do this in Serum 2, it's like a challenge, so to speak. Much challenge, much wow. Sine wave. You can rotate the phase on it, but it's very strange. Okay, I'm guessing there. That's probably what I want. So we can delete those. Go like this, morph. It's not the end of the world, but making wavetables on this is kind of wonky in comparison. I told my chiropractor about Serum 2 today. He was very confused. I mean, yeah. All right, I gotta go. Open up the door. Ciao, motherfuckers. Cheer. Join the stream. Always inspired. Yeah, thanks for coming in. Told my driving test examiner about it. She told me to pull on up on the left. Did you say I will pull over as soon as I pull out my mixtape? We can try maybe some different modes here. Could you all tell the difference between any of that? I honestly couldn't. Although that sounds nicer. Yeah, that's pretty nice. If we kind of smear that a bit, maybe what I can do is also add some sync so that way it kind of... Actually passed my UK driving test today. It's hard as fuck. Let's go. Yeah, that sounds great. What was I going to do next? I was going to do something and it was going to be cool. Oh, yeah. Cheers, bro. I'm going to mask my voice into this. And you're listening to Smooth Jazz. Okay, sorry. Yeah. That's what happens when you sing Confusion. You do dumb shit like that. But hold on, make it stop. Yeah. With this, we could probably do some cool stuff, like maybe put this through the spectral. Yeah. 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 See how cool that sounds, though? I knew that was going to sound sick. Take your own voice and shit. Somebody was like, if you want to see the real power of Serum 2, you should check out Seamless R. I never felt so much disrespect in my life. Um, I love I love Seamless. That's not what I'm getting at. I was just like, come on, man. Come on, man. What about me? What about me? Huh? What are you waiting for? I'm just kidding. I'm the bass guy. I learned so much from Seamless. He does deserve a lot of credit for stuff. 100%. It's gonna make me stop using Dune for pads. Seamless R is the Old Testament, which more people should read. I agree. Well, the fact is like he's kind of in the cut, but he's still around, and I'm glad that he's kind of come back a bit to do stuff. I'm really surprised that he never got into Phase Plant. I think he should get into Phase Plant. No, I don't want digital. No, I don't want digital. I just my according to YouTube comments, which apparently is gospel, my poor little ego can't handle any kind of criticism, nor when somebody talks about anybody other than me on the channel. We do need a way to control those mids, so yeah, I can just go here and be like, eat, figure out where this is. It would be really nice if there was feedback here, kind of like in Vital. So that way I don't have to guess, but it's kind of there. Oh, he did? A really slow phaser over this would probably be pretty cool. Oh yeah, dude, totally. I get that shit all the time. Maybe we can kind of do some fun stuff here. Like I can pull this up by 7 semitones. Confirms Vital is the new Serum 2 killer. He's really into physical modeling stuff. That's fair. I don't know if it's depression or music that's not fun anymore. Depression definitely sucks the life out of shit. Is somebody calling me? Hold on one sec. No. No, they are not. Yeah, music is not fun. Dude, music's not fun even music isn't fun even if you're not depressed. Like, come on, who are we kidding here? That shit is fucking, it's torture. Hey, Portrait, what's up? Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, even for me, like, when I'm held accountable to, like, sorry guys, I'm not trying to make this about me, but, when I am challenged to come up with content, when I don't have anything to make content over, it really fucking gets to me. When I try to make music sound good, especially when I'm getting ready to release a new product and I just make absolute garbage, that really gets to me because, like, it actually affects my job, you know? And I don't want to sell people some shit that's like, hey, I made this thing, but look at my music. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that I cannot fucking stand about some other YouTube platforms is like, check out this bass I made and this track. Go buy this. It's like, no, dude. No. Like, if I can't make good shit out of the things that I have for sale, don't fucking buy it. I thought I had the 15 seconds and the 11 DMB thing. I'm actually held accountable time. Imagine trying to make 15 seconds of something. Yeah, it's kind of hard, huh? But you're doing a good job. You are consistent. So, yeah, if you have the luxury to where music is a hobby for you, by all means, take a fucking break. There might be. I don't know. To be honest. Yeah, if you can take a break and you are burnt out on music, take a fucking break. Take a break. Please. Do it. Because having a mental recharge and even just like a dopamine, a dopamine reset in general is so helpful. I deleted the Instagram app 2 days ago. I still have an account, but I'm taking a break from it because what am I doing? I'm sitting down and I'm scrolling, and even though I'm looking for memes and shit or whatever, it's just like hit, 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 next hit, next hit, next hit. And like I realized I'm like, dude, I need a fucking break. When I'm not on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. And I'm like, information, 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 learning, this, whatever, pop off. And like taking the time to just sit the fuck down and be like, I need to be bored for at least a little bit. But I agree. We're really fucking spoiled. But it's just a fault of you know what I'm saying? It's just a fault of like the technology that we have today, and figuring out how to utilize it in a healthy way is still a relatively new frontier. You know what I mean? Is highly optimized to figure out what gets your attention. Yeah, and that's kind of scary too, because it knows. It knows that I like the booty cheek. No, I'm just kidding. No, if you if you see my algorithm, it's like mostly dogs and shit, dog memes and all that. So like something that Corey and I do a lot is like at like when it's bedtime for her, because I stay up way later than she does. Like what we do is we share memes, and so we just look for stuff that's like relationship stuff or whatever. But yeah, I mean, even though I enjoy that quality time with her, I could also just not scroll through Instagram and just have quality time with her, Dogs are angels. If you start one for like an extra seconds, the next, yeah, I know. They're like, gotcha. I'm taking a break for around half a year now. Got back to producing like a week ago and it's not fun already. Everything seems unoriginal. Well, let me ask you this. Hey, meta engineer here. We're going to win you back. Don't worry. You'll be back. You know what I can say? When I quit Facebook, I never went back. I quit Facebook in like 2021 and I was like, nope, I'm good. So good luck. Good luck. Yeah. Fuck that shit. That is pretty funny though. It's hard for me to get bored making music, but getting rest in general is so important. Facebook was so fun around. It was, right? Because that's when like NeuroHop Forum and yeah, the groups and all that other stuff. Okay, so yeah, sorry. My question for you, Taugi, tall guy. How you say your name? Do you like deep down? Do you love making music? Hell no, I never played Farmville. My grandma did. Meta, just try and leave. Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing for Meta. Get guys, gals, and gays and days and everyone in between to like, I don't know, actually go on a date. Then Facebook will be the place. No, Facebook Marketplace is not where it's at. Every time I've put something up for sale, it was a fucking scam. Every single time. Oh, I could send this through, what was it at the time? Through this fake Zelle app, and then I'll pay you this much, but then you pay me back half, and then like, cool? All right. Like, no, fuck that. No. Yes. Yes, what Gloom is saying. That shit is not the business. Got back to producing this week for the rest of the I didn't mean actually buying anything. Well, what do you mean where it's at? Like, what are you talking about? Currently trying to finish a future bass track. Okay, but the thing is like, if you feel compelled to write, regardless of if you want to do it or not, you need to you need to take an honest look out of what you're getting out of music production. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. I have not made a beat today. I don't think anybody cares. And you know what? If I don't make a beat tomorrow, I don't think anybody's going to care. Right? Maybe at the end of the day, I don't think people give a shit. But when it comes into satisfying, that creative output, as long as you create a little thing here and there, you know what I mean? You don't have to make your next masterpiece. No, make a beat right now or I'll murk the post. I mean, go ahead. I have no affiliation with that person, although that would be a tragedy because, I don't know. Shit. Let's not talk about religion on this channel. Music production isn't always about making tracks. Give yourself a liberty. Yeah, you need to give yourself permission to make garbage. And you need to figure out how to have fun with what you're doing. I literally just made a video 2 days ago about music production in 2025. And one of the major points that I brought up, I'm like, dude, when you're first making music, like, you don't know fuck. And what do? You're like, how do I start? You're like, oh, shit. Okay, drums. Oh, that's cool. Okay, kick. Okay, dope. Like, you don't know anything. You know what I mean? You're just getting stuff in here and being like, okay, well, fuck, I'm gonna stumble through this. And people, like, stop giving themselves permission to do this. Myself included. You know? With a hat. Okay. Alright, do I know how to make a drum pattern? Maybe. Yeah. Just need Michael to send me some smooth jazz chords. Then what do? We just like find loops and stuff, right? But, I mean, if you do something like this, and then you just have a little bit of intuition, make a loop, change the loop a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, something like this. Even this. And then you're like, okay, this is all I got. I don't know what else to do with this, right? This is all I have for today. It's okay. But then you're like, okay, well, let me put a little bit of work into it. So now this is kind of just... Okay, yeah, we'll make it like super swingy. Okay, cool. The drums sound like shit, the whatever, but you know what I mean? I put something together and now we have two, technically eight, excuse me, A bars because we're at halftime, but I can do some shit here where... Cool. We have a beat. This sucks, but it kind of vibes, right? Even if this is all you get through, like you made something. You know what I'm saying? Sloop is low-key fire though. I can make a burial tune out of this right now. So true, we will end up making tons of so carefree is the way. Right. Like you just have to like give yourself permission to just make stuff. Because here's the thing. When you get to a technical when you get to a technical standpoint of stuff, for one, I could just replace these sounds if I wanted to, right? The other thing is I could also process them in a means that is going to make them sound better. So if we right click, normalize, let me cut the tails off of these. Let's just focus on this for a sec. Please. Please. That already sounds 10 times better. Let's blow the kick up. Hello. That was easy. Believe it or not, we do music here sometimes. Okay, let's normalize this, turn this up. Okay, I'm going to add a crash, or a ride, or open hat rather. Open hat. Sure. Probably just one. Cool, now I hear something else, like, you know? So if I can find another hat or something like that, and I'm trying not to do sound design, or at least a lot. And then maybe we can do just like some cool triplets or something. And then maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4. So something kind of like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something that gives it a little bit of a shuffle. And then maybe what we can do is even push this. I know that it doesn't sound good yet, but it's actually not terrible. So what happens if I just create like a weird shaker thing? And this is kind of where it is, and this is where it's fun. It's fun when you have choices to make. When it's not fun is when you're trying to figure this shit out and you don't know what to do. But you need to figure out how to make your worst better. So that way when you do stuff like this, yeah. right? Okay, what do we need? We need an 808. So, I'm pretty sure I got one. Alckemy 808. Oh, sorry, I think it's Alckemy sub. There we go. That's in C, so... I think that's the right pitch, but I think this is the wrong tempo. Yeah, the warp mode of this is kind of wonky, kind of fucked up, but that's okay. If you were to put it in a sampler or something, it would be... Which is something that I might do instead. So, I can do this, throw this into a sampler. Let's try that. Oh, I guess that was built in. There we go. Okay. I guess that movement was baked into the actual sound. You know, we can do this. 1, 2, 3. Then on the fourth one, we can go on the offbeat. Pull that off. Hey, hold my beer. We can do some kind of vocal like yo or something like that.
Yo! Yo! Yo, yo, yo!
Turn it down.
Yo!
You get what I'm saying? Like, we just made a song. Now we can duplicate it, and then we can variate. Then we can grab a shaker, add something like that over time. But, like, music making... people say that I romanticize music making, but no, I don't. I totally disagree. Because it literally can be this easy. If you're not thinking about shit, and you're just, like, going... and you're just letting yourself do stuff, then this is something that I can just talk my way through. You know what I mean? But what you have to be is open whenever you make stuff. And the other thing that a lot of people run into is a quality issue, right? Because they're like, oh, this sounds like shit or whatever. But what is the goal? Are you trying to make music or are you trying to make good music? Obviously, it's both. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is you need to go through this first. And only after doing this a bunch of times do you start to steer shit where you want to kind of go in the direction that you need it to. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yo! Yo!
You know, then you can do something like this, where you take off the first beat, so you can go... pick it up right here. Then maybe find some other stuff in here that might complement whatever this is, so... You know, let's say right here, like we've got the original tone or whatever. So now this is a new, excuse me, idea. I've got 8 bars. Boom. Now we go here. Do something to build this up. Let me listen to this real fast. Okay, so we need to kind of work on it just a bit, but it's not that much. Okay, for some reason I put this on the wrong one. There we go. And then we can do something like ROM. We go like this. We do this to where we just play the kicks. And then maybe we do something like this to where we do like an offset. So something like here. Pull this off. So don't. Did I already do the yo? Yeah, I already did it once. We don't need to do that again. So you know, we kind of have a build up. Maybe we pitch this up over time. Kind of like so. And it's not good. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just going into something different. And then maybe like you know, or just like do something different with samples. It doesn't need to be anything specific, but like you just have to let go and let yourself make anything. It doesn't matter what it is. That's how you make tracks. Literally what I'm doing right now is you just need to write. But when you're trying to get into specific shit, that's really where you start hating it. I had to go through so many fucking versions to get through this. I think this is like attempt number 8 to get to this track. And this is the one track that I've written this year that I'm like, I fucking nailed it. But with this like vibe of the drums of, hold on one second, wherever this is. Sorry, give it a sec. Give it a sec for the pain to start. But getting the drums like this is going to be loud, by the way. That took me so long to nail in the aesthetic that I wanted it to be. So fucking long. I think I made the same song as quote unquote like 5 or 6 times before I actually landed on this one. But once I had this, everything else became a lot easier to write, you know? And like there's this one section towards the end that I'm like, oh my god, this is the coolest part of the song. From this part, but like listen to the texture on this last part. Sorry, the snare's not supposed to do that, but I don't know why the snare is doing that. Oh, it's probably because I've got Pro Q3 that's cut out somewhere. forward 2. Yeah, it's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be a little bit drier. But in that sense, like I said, I had to go through a lot of stuff to get through this. I had to go through a lot of like trial and error, a lot of lessons as well with, like Cage and Chi and them in order to just get to even this point. No, you're fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hi, babe. But you have to realize that like, even for somebody like me, I make really bad shit too. I wouldn't put this out, but sometimes you have to be, sometimes you got to go through this. And sometimes like you don't have the energy or whatever to do it. But if you can fall in love with this, and if you can figure out how to be resourceful and turn anything into a hook, then you're going to enjoy making music a lot more. Like I said, it's only when you get into the, hey baby, peep the drip. Oh, let's go, sexy librarian. Love it. Hi baby. It's only when you get into trying to do the specific shit that you start hating what you're doing, because you're like, no, my bass doesn't sound like Noisia. My drums don't hit as hard as this person. Why can't I be Space Laces?
My drums, they don't hit as hard.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what sucks the fun out of the production. And it sucks because like I've realized in my own journey that you have to kind of have a little bit of both. Like if what you make does not resonate with like where you're going, then you have to like go through this struggle process to where it's like, it's not what I'm looking for, not what I'm looking for, not what I'm looking for. And Corey can even attest, like, how much have I bitched to you about being like, oh, it's not what I want. It's not hitting hard enough. It's whatever.
It's part of the autistic journey though, man.
It sounded like you said it's part of the autistic journey.
Or maybe that too. Artistic journey.
Yeah, it is.
Artistic.
Corey's a classically trained composer. She knows. She's gone through a lot of academia and stuff, but like she gets it. And
only bachelor's degree in composition. Only bachelor's.
Yeah, you do kind of have to be a bit autistic about it. I heard it that way too. Yeah, I do too.
Artistic, my bad. Artistic.
But yeah, but if you can kind of like bounce back and forth between being like, I'm just gonna make anything, even if it's garbage, and then being like, okay, today I'm actually going to try to focus on like getting closer to the aesthetic or the kind of music that I want to make. Then you might find a happy middle ground. It's never going to be 50-50, but you can kind of work towards that. That's what I've done anyways. Like I've made a bunch of like I've made some tunes that I'm very proud of. I've also made a lot of like stuff that I'm like, I never want to show anybody in the public this. I mean, I feel like that's how everybody is, right? Would you be willing to show me every single thing that you've written?
Probably not.
Yeah. And you're my partner, and we've been together for like years. You get.
I would show it to you, but I might be a little embarrassed about some of the stuff.
I would too. The way I said it, I don't know. I've just been spouting off. But yeah, you need to like enjoy the beat making process and simplify. That's the thing about hip hop. And that's part of the reason why I spend so much time making hip hop, is because this literally translates to so many genres. It translates to house, garage, halftime, drum and bass. Like you're essentially creating a break, even with this, like it's, wonky and funky and stuff, but it still has an attitude. It sounds like shit, but whatever, it's cool. You just maybe, throw some mixing on that. Put a sidechain on that bit, and maybe it's not so bad. The other thing too is like if you can sketch a concept of whatever it is that you're trying to write, at least initially. Why did you do that? If you don't back the fuck up. Just kidding. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna need you to like not do that. I need you to take that out. Thank you. But yeah, even just with some basic mixing stuff on here, of like sending everything through a sidechain and understanding that like the arrangement process of it. Sometimes I'll be wanting to combine neuro hop with jazz, and I just bash my head against the wall. Dude, you have a whole generation of music to reference. What are you talking about? What? Fucking glitch hop. Neuro hop. Do me a favor. Go listen to this song right now. I think it's Daily. Is it Daily? Hold on, let me find it. It would be under Eunice. Dale, sorry. Go listen to this song right now. This one. Welcome to the Cat's Motel. I'm your host, Cats. Yeah, Miss McIntyre, that's a great one as well from Scope. What are some other ones? I don't know. If I were to look at my Spotify thing, then you can do that. But yeah, a lot of people have done it. And I don't know. I feel like for someone like you, Michael, like you should never, with the way that you create music, I feel like someone like you should never be in like a creative block. I'm talking more like volume type stuff. So to me, that sounds like your challenge is like a production quality standpoint, right? Like if I could guess, you want your shit to hit. Does that sound accurate? Without trying to assume. 2 a.m. here, had a long day, fall asleep. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Kev. I appreciate it. What? No camera, right? Right. That's correct. So sound design is your only issue. Because I know you know how to make music. But imagine if you had access to all the sounds. I think Michael's also classically trained. I don't think that's his issue. Or at least he's trained in jazz or something. Yeah, see. Yeah, it's a sound design thing. But there's stuff like Splice. There's stuff like other people. Shit, I bet if you hit up Volume for lessons, he'd probably give it to you. You know? If he's out of your price range, you could be like, hey, listen, I think that you're worth that, but this is how much I can give. You know, could I do a 30-minute lesson for this much? You know, or like there's ways around it to try to get what you can out of what you can afford. Every single person that I've taken lessons from, I've pretty much paid in some regard or another because it was worth their time. You know, they were willing to share their quote unquote secrets and stuff with me. And that's how I got a lot better. Yeah. And also I wouldn't say it like that, but I do agree that you need to learn the approach, because if you don't have the right perspective on how to culminate whatever it is that you're doing, then a lot of times like you're going to be way the fuck over in left field when it might be right in front of your face. What do you say? Maybe like 20 minutes. But yeah, like if it wasn't for Cage, I probably would still be trying to figure out how to put together the rhythm that I just did. You know what I mean? Like figuring out how to do stupid rubato shit like this of the drums. I fucking danced around this forever. Even just creating a groove like this. And I don't know why. I just didn't get it. And then he broke it down for me in a way, and he was like, dude, it's all about the percussion. And I was like, oh my God, I get it. Holy shit. You know, and now coming up with, I don't know if you all watched, but, you know, coming up with beats like this, and this was like a trash beat that I'm actually kind of proud of. The Alckemy Bitwig thing that we did with this switch up right here. That's 100% like Cajun Chi. 100%. 100% influence from them. And how did I get there? I got there through the process that they showed me. I got there through the mindset and the approach of how they come up with shit like that. And had I not had that, I probably would have never figured that out. Because I bet a bunch of people are like, oh, I bet you just did like a kick thing or whatever. And it's like, no, it was literally like this thought, this train of thought that they go through of like how they actually think about culminating or cultivating the music. And that's something that I try to share with you all on my channel as well, up to a point. But yeah, and this is just for you, Michael. This is just, you know, general advice and stuff. But yeah, I having a mentor, having a teacher is so goated. I would say the best skill that I possess in my skill set of things that I know how to do, whether it be tricking or martial arts or music or whatever, is by far martial arts. And the reason why is because from the very beginning, I had a mentor. And I still have a mentor. I have somebody to guide me through all the shit that I'm trying to improve on and have immediate feedback, immediate conversations, immediate access to things that I'm trying to cultivate. It's hard because the rules aren't so set in stone when it comes into things like music and stuff. But the fact of the matter is that if you admire someone, those are the rules that you give yourself, right? Because you're trying to make music like that person. And I would even say, don't try to make music like that person. Try to identify what it is about the music that makes you feel a certain way. And a lot of times that's what you're trying to recreate within your own expression. You know, and I think that it's a trap. A lot of people are like, yo, I have to, you know, make this bass sound like this guy and whatever. And if I do that, then, you know, like, no, you're not. I bet even if you made the same sound, it would sound like shit because you already have a tainted reference. Maybe if you started with the sound, two people started with the sound and they both made their own completely different context of it, that would be a thing, but you've already heard it. Like, and you're already at a loss because you're trying to do something better than someone that you admire. You're never going to be satisfied. It's never going to happen. So you kind of have to like figure out how to let go of that. There's certain things that you can take, you know, there's certain aesthetics that people can show you how to do that helps you figure out what you're doing. But yeah, I cannot stand when people say like my music sounds like someone else these days. You know, they're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Cohen sound. And I'm like, dude, like, do you tell Cohen sound that? Are you like, oh, Cohen sound, you sound like Noisia? Like, no, which they can't help it, right? Because I think that when people talk on a peer level, they probably put their favorite artist on a pedestal, and then everybody that might be approachable or whatever is like, that's kind of like they're trying to give a compliment. But you have to realize that at some point people have their own artist name. I'm not Cohen Alckemy sound. I'm just Alchemy. And even though I am inspired by a lot of things from all these artists or whatever, ultimately I'm trying to find my own expression within a genre or whatever that I'm trying to do. And it's hard, especially when you admire somebody a lot. I don't know. That's just my own 2 cents. Maybe some people, I don't know, like how if by accident you get too close to someone, it feels horrible when you play after your own sound. Right, because their shit's going to sound way better and you're going to be upset. You're going to be like, damn, that was, oh shit. Let me just fade that out and just play the original. Now realize that, hold on, I'm actually pretty good at the piano. Yeah, you are. So use it to your advantage, you know? But maybe what you need doesn't need to be like, maybe you need to stop, like, wait. Sorry. Maybe you need to start somewhere else outside of the piano for a bit. Like you've cultivated a comfortability and approach to where you know how to compose on the piano, but for what you're wanting to do, you need to start with a different concept or a different approach. Because if you think about making electronic music as a pianist, then everything that you do is going to come out at the end of the day as a pianist. Does that make sense? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you kind of have to keep that into consideration. You know, a lot of the stuff that I've made, like I've had to have like a little bit of intention, a little bit of randomization, knowing that this is going to kind of put me in a ballpark. It's very imprecise. It's really fucking frustrating when it doesn't work out, but I know that like there's some things that you just can't, like, maybe I can't for skill reasons or whatever, but there are some things that I've designed that I could not recreate. There are some drums that I've made that I could not recreate. There's some like really fucking cool shit that I've done that I'm like, I cannot repeat this as much as I might want to. It's not a spell. It's just one of those magic things that have happened, and then you kind of just capitalize on it. Like, I don't think I've ever made drums like dim lights. Even though my processing is the exact same, the drums behind dim lights is just something that I absolutely adore. But listen to when the percussion comes in. Like that vibe, whatever it was that I did, was fucking sick. And I still have the project file, but even looking back, even looking at the YouTube stream of when I made that, it still hasn't come out the same. There was some kind of weird small process that I did in between to make it have that really huge presence. And but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like let it go for what it was. But that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about with your approach and with all that other stuff. You kind of have to just got to go with it. And sometimes you also have to realize that you're going to try a bunch of shit and it's not going to work out. Hey, what's up, brother? I've always wanted to make tunes, but only now just getting into it. Well, here's the thing with tunes. At the end of the day, we'll just call this some bullshit. I was literally, have y'all heard of Quest Crew? I had Brian from Quest Crew over here, from America's Best Dance Crew. I'm trying to get him to start a channel, and we were actually talking about teaching this. But once you have these elements, sure. Let's just say melody.
Shake it to the...
Oh my god, ow. You know, bass line. Whatever. Let's just pretend, right? Once you have these elements, regardless of what genre you're doing, you're literally doing shit like this. Maybe here, whatever. Okay, there. Okay, cool. Duplicate. Like this is music production 101 right here. This is like at a certain point, you are literally just moving clips around. That is music production 101. Lower volume, automate, right? Like small changes, sure. But at its general core, when it comes into I'm writing a beat, you have drums, you have bass, you've got a melody or chords or, you know, some kind of thing that's a lead. You have a hook, you have a call and response. Like there are certain things that make up beats as music as a whole, right? They all have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And on one end, I don't like to systemize like that because it can rob the art. But the fact of the matter is that, yes, that is what you're doing. That is what you're doing. Doesn't matter if it's a trap beat. It doesn't matter if it's a house beat. What the fuck ever. You know what I'm saying? It's the context and the in-between, the details and stuff that help bring the art out. But like, you know, it's like when you tell an artist versus somebody who's not very good to draw a circle. You know, the artist is going to be like, look at this fucking perfect circle and it's going to be immaculate. And then you got me and my shit is like some weird teardrop oval thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's still a circle. It's still a fundamental, but it's the practice of the execution that make people so good at making that stupid shape. When you're kind of doing this stuff, you are creating shapes. You're creating grids and patterns and things that, no, you'll never fucking miss me with that shit. I'll never make reggaeton. But yeah, you like We know how to do this. We know how to put blocks together. We know how to stack. If you know how to stack, then you know how to make beats. It might not be great, but at its core, you know, if you got a drum groove, you got a bass line, you have chords, they're in key, they're rhythmically making sense. It's like, who's to say what music is good and what's bad? And that's what a lot of these phone apps and shit do, right? Is they give you these pre-made loops for you to audition and to swap and whatever, and that's also a gateway into DJing, but like, that's what you do. Who cares if you don't come up with the loops yourself? Maybe as you get better and as you get more into it, you might want to start leaning into the design and blah, 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 and all that other shit. But when you're first starting out, you have to give yourself the permission to like have those head starts. Right. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. I get so in my own head because I'm like that person that's like, I'm going to fucking design everything from scratch. And I hate when people give me that dumbass analogy of, you know, Diplo making the stupid joke or whatever, but it's like, no, something that I really value is being able to make everything, being able to, you know, being able to synthesize all the stuff that I like. And even though my music might not have the best quote unquote production quality, I am really proud about being like, yeah, everything in this fucking song I made, you know? That's a pretty good feeling. Is it necessary? No. But yeah, not very many people do that. And the ones that do are the ones that are really good. Defo take pride in the synthesizer. Yeah. So, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about anything before I go? You won't know what sounds you want to make until you know what sounds you need to make. uh, Audiating is great. And if you start with a direction as opposed to a specific thing, then that is extremely helpful. So as opposed to being like, I need a bass that's like, blah, 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 and then like sitting there for fucking months trying to design that, you need to focus on the function of the sound as opposed to the timbre. You can always tweak the timbre, but if you have something that's a fill, that's like a cool pitch bend thing or whatever, uh, you you can use that as a placeholder and then come back and replace that with any sound, you know? In my opinion, I feel like Neurobass is dead. I still love to make it because I just, you know what I mean? I've been doing it for years now. They're fun to design and I love, you know, playing with the pitching and stuff and the way that the sounds talk or whatever. But like, if you ever see how much I use that in context, what am I doing? It's just a fill. But you could use anything as a fill. You could literally slap a delay on your entire track and then turn the knob left and right really fast and throw it through random effects and then be like, boom, that's it. And it will be quote unquote neuro sounding. I wish that somebody would have taught me that because then I wouldn't fucking focus on the shit that I've done for the past 10 years and maybe moved on with my life. But here we are. Sick. Dope. I know that he's in the Upscale Discord. He's online. So, you know, see what he has to say. Tell him that I recommended you. But the knowledge it takes amazes the listener? No. People that produce, it amazes them. But people that are just listening to this shit, they don't fucking care. Oh yeah, halftime is hella dead. Like halftime is such a niche genre. Watch, you see me start producing halftime, everybody leaves in the chat. You've been here for years. What always happens when I start making halftime? Until the final result is there, unless if it's a fucking banger, like, you know what I'm saying? Like really well executed, there is not interest in it. But I guarantee if I started making trap, if I started making drum and bass, if I started making more conventional genres, like I know that the channel would do better. Yeah, that's kind of rare, to be honest. You got to remember, like, most of your audience are going to be people that just casually listen to music. Halftime and, like, really technical shit is producers' music. That's what you have to remember, is that if you are trying to make stuff to where you're like, yeah, exactly. if you're trying to make something to where it's like, wow, this is really compelling and blah blah blah, like you are making music for other producers to listen to. You are not making something to be consumed by the general mass. And if you can't accept that, then you should be fucking making trap. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's understanding like what you're up against, you know? If you're making neuro drum and bass, it's a niche thing. If you're making liquid drum and bass with chords and a melody, it's like very close to pop now. And so there's your bridge. But you know what I mean? You have to do what's going to satisfy yourself as an artist. For me personally, like I just want to make really heavy basses and then like have drums that are just like you know, shit like that, and then be like, all right, because that's my vibe. That's my, you know what I mean? That's my style. That's what I, if when somebody thinks of an Alchemy tune, I want them to think of a song like that. Yeah, right on. So in any case, please put up with my last thing because I'm going to go and have dinner with Corey. Check out alchemy.com if you do like my sounds, and if you're interested in lessons, then you can always hit me up. Also, thank you to everybody who's been submitting to the Everyday Quick Spells. That shit's been awesome, man. I've really been enjoying playing your stuff before we get into doing anything else. If you go to the Discord here, you can join. Check out the Everyday Quick Spells. You can submit 15 seconds of a tune, and then I'll play it at the beginning of the stream. Because it's only 15 seconds, it's really fast to get through. But I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back Wednesday, Saturday, and next Monday. I might be gone. I have a gig, like a martial arts gig for something that I can't talk about. I'm under NDA, but it's like a corporate thing or whatever. And so I have to be present for rehearsals. So this next coming week is going to be a little bit strange. I will, however, have some kind of video or something to kind of, you know what I mean, to kind of make up for that. But thanks everybody. I appreciate it. At the very least, if you could like the video, that would be awesome. But other than that, I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye everyone. I'll see you later. See you later, alligator. Goodbye.